Bill, wow, you look great. You look very sciencey.
Thank you. A man can dream.
Yeah. Do you ever hang out in like jeans and a T-shirt and not look like Bill Nye the Science Guy?
We could run tests.
We could run tests on that. Bill Nye the Science Guy, an entertainer and educator, quite possibly the most universally famous person who emerged from Seattle that is not a dead rock star.
That's not something I aspire to, but
No.
thank you. Good morning.
I racked my brain. I can't think of anybody. Maybe Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, that when you
And then
say their
boom.
name, you
Forget
know
it.
who he is. You know,
Kids
What
know-
about Tex Johnston?
the great test pilot.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
See,
I know
there
who
you
he
go.
is, but you
Yeah.
go to Omaha or you go to Beijing and you say Tex Johnson. I don't know if they're going to know, but Bill Nye the Science Guy.
It's huge.
I saw
In
this
Beijing,
guy
it's
in
huge.
Lillehammer, Norway. Everybody knew where you were. That was a
That's
long
right.
time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Remember that?
1994, I believe.
Yeah.
Bill Nye's PBS show started 20 years ago. He offered expert analysis on issues involving science on networks like CNN. It all started for Bill when he left his engineering job at Boeing to concentrate on bringing science to the masses on that ridiculously lowbrow medium television, although he did a spectacularly job. He was also a cast member on Almost Live. Shows, books, even a few rides at Disneyland feature Bill Nye the Science Guy, and he's just released Bill Nye the Science Guy app. If you're at a Mariners game tonight, at the Mariners game tonight, he will throw out the first pitch. Some of you will root for him to pitch the entire game, the way things have been going. Bill Nye.
You don't want that. Good morning,
All right.
everyone.
Welcome to the Bob Rivers Show. How are you?
It's so good to be here. I'm fabulous.
Uh-huh.
In Seattle on a very northwestern-looking morning.
You know, the phrase there's got to be an app for that. Now, for Bill Nye, there is an app for
There's
that.
an app for that, yes.
What does your app do?
I think a better question is, what does it not do? What doesn't it do, really? No, it'll tell you the time on Mars. It'll allow you to learn some geology by digging in your electronic backyard. You can chase the balls around on the bouncing situation there that the kids do. It's got some music. It's got some doors akin to your Get Smart Open. Older reference lost on many of the younger listeners, I'm sure.
Dun, 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 dun.
The shoe
Love that
phone.
open.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. It sounded even better on the TV show.
Impossible.
So with the app, it's kind of a teaching app to
Yes,
have
yes,
fun with
yes.
science.
The periodic table's there.
What time is it on Mars right now?
We'd have to check. Seconds
let's look.
away.
Do we have the
Which
app?
would mean, yeah, we have the app, but
Is there how many time zones on Mars?
so far,
And do they do daylight savings?
no daylight savings yet. You know, there's if there are Martians, they've been pretty reclusive.
So far.
We have not really gotten in touch with them. However, please note, everyone, taxpayers and voters, if we were to find evidence of living things on this other world, more extraordinary, if I can use that hyperbole, even stranger would be to find something still alive. And it is not beyonding. I mean, it could happen.
We talked this earlier, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it. Are we alone in the universe?
No! How could we possibly be alone? My old professor, Carl Sagan, would remark, there are billions and billions. Actually, he said he claims he never said that. Johnny Carson said billions and billions of stars in our galaxy. There are 200
Just
billion
one galaxy,
stars
yeah.
in our galaxy.
How many
and there are
galaxies
at
are
least
there that we know
many
of?
galaxies.
Billions.
Hundreds of billions. And so
As far as we could see or know.
that's right. So far.
And
So-
it may go on forever and ever.
And the word forever and ever is almost, maybe that doesn't even have meaning. Maybe there's multiple universes, multiverses, and so on. So this is all intriguing, but keep in mind, to claim that there have to be other living things on other worlds is one thing. To claim that they've come and visited here
Is another.
is a whole nother. And then to claim that they visited you and inspected you.
'Cause you were so special.
And even
right.
took you for
You
a
had the
ride.
colon worth coming for.
That's right.
You did. yeah.
Exactly. And not only that.
So you do
they-
believe in that endless possibility means there's a probability, but you also, as a scientist, remain reserved about anybody who claims they know anything for sure.
Well, no. To claim that we've been visited by aliens, that's a specific claim. You know, we in skeptical thinking and critical thinking, we run our world on claims.
You
So
do.
if you claim that the aliens visited you and left you this piece of extraordinary spacecraft of unobtainium material, and you lost it. So it's 23:23 on Mars, which should be 11 in the evening.
It's 11 in the evening on all of Mars?
Yeah,
or
for those of you on the most visual medium of radio, this is my phone.
That's
and
it.
there's the app right there. But
Oh, there's the Martian
sundial,
time app. Look at that.
Well, it's the sundial that I had a small role in. While we're in Seattle, by the way, near the University of Washington, I encourage you all to check out the University of Washington sundial on the southwest side of the physics building, put there by my colleague and dear friend Woody Sullivan. Woody, if you're out there, way to go. Once again, fabulous. And if you get a chance to take a course from Woody, he is all that, as the kids say. Woody is all that.
That had to be some serious critical thinking. The guy who came up with that whole sundial. I mean, who thought?
Well, this is another. Speaking of the history of humankind, you guys, do you understand how complicated the motion of the sun is as observed from the Earth's surface?
Complicated in that, well, it not only does it go from one side to the other, but it changes a little bit every day
North
throughout
to
the year.
south, yeah.
Depending on where you are compared to the equator.
So let's say you're walking down the street in a library, minding your own business, and there's a globe. Maybe you have a globe at home.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that figure 8 pattern out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? Anybody?
Yes.
That's called the analemma. Do you know what that is? See,
I admit
my
I do
life's
not.
been a waste. You see
No.
that?
It's a little.
I'm sure my kids both know things.
No,
It's
But
something
that's
you. It's something you dip your pita bread in at a cocktail party.
Yum.
And a lemon.
Yum,
That
yum,
tastes
yum.
good.
Yes. Yes.
No, maybe not.
It's closely related. Actually, it is related in the sense that it's from that part of the world. So that is the path of the sun in the sky as the year goes on. So if you wait for the sun to be highest in the sky every day, when it, as we say in astronomy, culminates.
That's high noon. Right?
That's yeah. So bear
But
in
it's
mind.
not always noon.
Well, and just when you're at high noon in the northern hemisphere, the sun's in the south at high noon. So
And do they call that solar noon?
solar noon.
Because I have
Right
a
on.
sunrise sunset app. I don't know if you're at this.
yeah. Oh man, we're all about that.
And it says that solar noon. Well, it
it's
varies
at 1 o'clock something.
depending on the time of year. Yeah, and
so
it's not
1
always
o'clock
noon.
because we're daylight savings time. Furthermore, also in addition to continue some more, there's an east to westivity of your solar noon. Like the time zone is set up on the meridian, on the straight up and downness of a longitude. And so if you're east or west of that, it's going to affect the clock time too. So we all take this for granted. The reason we're on the radio, the reason we have these electric computer machines and that interweb that the kids use, is that we have clocks of extraordinary accuracy. You cannot have a computer without an amazing clock.
A clock. What does the clock have to do with the computer? It's a little thing that sits
It's
down in
just
the
been-
right-hand corner.
It's just been a waste. So
Poor
20
guy.
years down the drain. So the way the computer
All about
works
education. Yeah.
All that
is
effort.
at times when it's going to send signals and bits to different places in the machine, and it does that. Everybody in the machine,
And it wouldn't
uses the
work
same
without being so accurate. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't work nearly as easily. Yeah. So the clocks that we all rely on, like your cell phone, to get their information from outer space. We use global positioning satellites for calibrating.
Did you
so many
see all the?
clocks.
Did you see all the GPS stuff coming years and years ago? Because now GPS is used for so many different
So when
things.
I was an engineer,
Yeah, at Boeing.
not well at Boeing, but more specifically at Sunstrand Data Control, which is now Honeywell, out there on the 520. Out there, used to be in the woods.
Were the
Used to
Wright
get
brothers
off-
nice guys as individual
Yeah.
people? Were they great people?
When the stagecoaches used to go by 520.
was a boy.
Yeah.
Kids, look, it wasn't that long ago. You take 520, it stopped at 148th.
Right.
Stopped.
Wow. Yeah.
T intersection. None of this Pleasantville down there in Redmond land.
Pre-Microsoft. There
Yeah,
was nothing
Microsoft
out there.
was just that was a forest there where the campus is. I'm not kidding. So it wasn't that long ago, but it was pretty long ago.
So back then,
Yeah, so back then, the goal positioning was the satellites were new. It was a military thing, and they were accurate within 30 meters, 100 feet each way. But the information was there if you just knew how to extract it. Bah! And so the military scrambled these data, but guys figured out through something called complementary calculus. They figured out how to make it more and more fine, and then the military's abandoned that scrambling now. So you
And-
can
and
tell
to-
which side of the street you're on
I know.
from outer space. That's
you
why
know?
you should all join the Planetary Society.
All right. Did you know back then that someday you would be able to check in via Yelp at a restaurant you were at, and it would pinpoint to the second? You didn't know
and
that.
people. There was an article in your Popular Science this month about flying cars. Where are the flying cars? We've got something cooler than the flying cars. We've got apps to let you into your restaurant on time within 30 seconds or less than that of when you're supposed to be there.
On the subject of clocks, and this is a 13-year-old question, but I haven't seen you
No,
for a
we
while.
love that. We love that.
Okay.
He had this question 13
Yeah,
years ago.
I did. I was wondering.
You're 26.
When Y2K came, and a lot of people, both very smart people and some not very smart people like myself, kind of started freaking out about what this was going to do to our computers and our systems because of the clocks and because of not being able to handle this extra digit. Were you a guy that was at all concerned, or were you out campaigning against people freaking out about this?
No. Well, I was campaigning against freaking out. I was campaigning for getting it done. Understand, my engineering colleagues around the world got together, recognized the problem, and fixed it, and provided you with free, before we use the expression applications, free software to make that correction so the problem was avoided.
So you fixed it for us.
Not
it
me,
didn't just not
people
happen.
I've met.
We all never gave you credit. We always went, "Oh, hey, we dodged a bullet," and you're like, "What?"
No,
Yeah.
exactly. You
We
guys
moved you, so the bullet
That's right.
didn't hit
A
you.
bunch of people that would be the real guys on the Big Bang Theory
Right.
got together and fixed it for
Hey, Bill,
everybody.
Bill Nye, the Science Guy. What does science do that's incredibly good? Even more so than that we should know about. And what does science do that is bad? Some people
Okay.
say genetically modified foods.
Oh,
and
I'll give
things-
you an earful
Yeah.
on that,
Okay.
lucky you. But let's start with
Let's start with the good, and then we'll go to the bad.
let's start with the term science. What does science do? Humans do science. Science is not a
Science
thing.
doesn't do anything.
Science is not the thing. You know, what does geography do? It makes lunch. No,
Right.
it is.
So that's like saying, what does karate do?
That's
Karate
right.
doesn't do anything.
It's the
People
process.
do karate.
It's the process by which we understand nature and our place in the cosmos, our place in space. And I claim that science is the best idea we've ever had, humans have ever had. And humans have had a lot of ideas. U.S. Constitution, pretty good idea. Magna Carta, not bad. The Analemma, astonishing. But fundamentally, back there is this process that allows us to discover and know our place in space. And so the future is bright if we educate people. So when I was 9 years old at the World's Fair, 1965, this is in New York, not in Seattle, there were 3 billion
You're an
people.
asthmatic 9-year-old,
There
I
were
guess.
3 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
3 billion people.
Back then,
The
okay.
population had just changed to 3 billion. So at the World's Fair in Seattle, there were fewer than 3 billion, but in 1965 it changed to 3 billion. I mean, it's estimated by organizations that do these sort of things, United Nations and so on. In my lifetime now, we're well over 7 billion, more than doubled in my lifetime, all living on what's proving to be a very small planet. So what are we going to do? You could, yes, run in circles screaming. You could try that. Probably not that effective. Instead, what we want to do is make it so everybody in the world has a high quality of life. And to do that, we have to educate people. Specifically, we have to raise the standard of living of women and girls. We have to educate women and girls worldwide. That will slowly cause the world's population to decrease for the betterment of all humankind.
Are you including Texas in this?
So it's a funny
I
thing.
had to go there, didn't you? Oh my God!
It's a
I'm
funny.
asking. He's giving us information.
I'm going to be speaking in Texas. I'm going to say in November.
Really?
Yeah,
Are they
there's
going to
a
let
big-
girls in or no?
There's a big skeptical organization in Texas, but there is a strange thing where we have this very advanced technological society. Everybody wants his cash machine. Everybody wants his or her fuel-injected car. No car's got a carburetor. You know, I mean, I know these crazy kids at the NASCAR want to live in the, I don't know what, the 18th century. It's fine, but everybody wants electricity. Everybody wants a cell phone. Everybody wants to eat. Feeding 7 billion people on a world that used to feed sort of 1.25 or 1.5 billion
And
people.
eat well and not get diseased water and
Yes.
things like that. Yes.
And that all is a result of the process of science, and specifically engineers. Okay, so then you have these people who insist that based on